Digha Nikāya, Sutta number 31, Sigālovāda Sutta, Advice to Lay Disciples. Thus have I heard. At one time the Blessed One was residing at the Squirrel Sanctuary in Rajagaha's bamboo grove. It was around that time that the householder, Sigāla, rising up early in the morning one day, with wet hair and clothes, was seen paying respect with joined hands to the 6 primary directions: east, south, west, north, nadir, and the zenith. It was at this time that the Blessed One, having risen up early and dressed by taking his outer robe and alms bowl, had gone to Rajagaha amongst the householders for alms. Thus, in seeing Sigāla in the midst of his ritual to the 6 directions, the Blessed One asked, "Young householder, why have you risen up early and are now with wet hair and clothes, are paying respect with joined hands to the 6 primary directions, to the east, south, west, north, nadir, and the zenith?" At this, Sigāla, the young householder, replied, "Venerable Sir, when my father was dying, he instructed me, 'Son, you must worship the directions.' Therefore, Venerable Sir, in order to honor my father's advice, respecting it, showing value and appreciation to it, I arose in the early morning and with wet hair and clothes, with joined hands to the 6 primary directions, I worship the east, south, west, north, nadir, and the zenith." But, young householder, this is not the proper way to worship the various directions, according to the noble discipline. In hearing this, Sigāla replied, "In that case, Venerable Sir, how are the various directions to be worshipped according to the noble discipline? It would be good if the Blessed One would teach me the Dhamma that explains how the directions are to be worshipped." Then, young householder, listen and pay close attention to what I shall say. "Yes, Venerable Sir," the young householder answered in agreement to the Blessed One. Then the Blessed One said this, "Young householder, here a noble disciple abandons 4 defilements of bodily conduct, abstaining from 4 motives of bad actions, and by not indulging in the 6 ways of depleting one's wealth. Therefore, by not engaging in these 14 unwholesome ways, a noble disciple worships the 6 directions, and is considered to be on his way to overcoming both worlds, while being successful in this world and the next, whereby at the breakup of the body, after death, he reappears in a happy destination, in a heavenly world." And what are the 4 defilements of bodily conduct that he abandons? These, young householder, are the defilement of bodily conduct involving the harming of life, the defilement of bodily conduct involving the taking of what is not freely given, the defilement of bodily conduct involving sexual misconduct, and the defilement of bodily conduct involving the use of false speech. These are the 4 defilements of bodily conduct. Having listed the 4, the well-farer, the Sugata, the teacher, continued, "Harming of life, taking what is not freely given, using of false speech, and going after the women of others, these are shunned by the wise. And what are the 4 motives of bad action that are abstained? Here, a noble disciple does not engage in a bad action, driven by desire or attachment. He does not engage in a bad action, driven by hatred. He does not engage in a bad action driven by delusion. and he does not engage in a bad action driven by fear. As a result, young householder, a noble disciple, while not being led by these motives of greed, hatred, delusion, and fear, does not engage in bad actions. Thus the Blessed One stated. Having listed the four, the wayfarer, the Sugata, the teacher, continued. The person who, led by greed, hatred, delusion, and fear, finds himself transgressing against the Dhamma, losing his reputation, much like the moon in its waning fortnight. The person who, abstaining from greed, hatred, delusion, and fear, thus living by the Dhamma, finds himself growing in happiness, much like the moon in its waxing fortnight. And what are the 6 ways of depleting one's wealth that are to be avoided? Here, young householder, someone indulges in habitually taking intoxicating substances that may be natural, distilled, or fermented, all causing heedlessness, whereby one depletes and thus loses one's wealth. Also, someone indulges in habitually loitering in the streets at unfitting hours, whereby one depletes and thus loses one's wealth. Further, someone indulges in attending shows and entertaining events, whereby one depletes and thus loses one's wealth. Further, someone indulges in gambling, which is a doorway for heedlessness, whereby one depletes and thus loses one's wealth. Further, someone indulges in habitually associating with bad friends, whereby one depletes and thus loses one's wealth. And someone indulges in habitually being idle with one's time and resources, whereby one depletes and thus loses one's wealth. These, young householder, are the 6 dangers that result from habitually enjoying intoxicating substances that may be natural, distilled, or fermented, all causing heedlessness. What 6? 1. Immediate loss of wealth. 2. Incidents of quarrels and arguments. 3. Increased likelihood of illnesses. 4. Disgrace and ill repute. 5. Indecent exposure of oneself. And 6. Weakening of one's intelligence. These, young householder, are the 6 dangers that result from enjoying intoxicating substances that may be natural, distilled, or fermented, all causing heedlessness. Further, young householder, there are these 6 dangers that result from habitually loitering in the streets at unfitting hours. What 6? 1. One becomes vulnerable, exposed to danger, and susceptible to physical harm. 2. One's loved ones become themselves vulnerable, exposed to danger, and susceptible to physical harm. 3. One's own wealth is exposed without guard and protection. 4. One becomes liable to explain oneself, suspected of wrongdoing, whether of oneself or of others. 5. One usually falls prey to rumors, whether true or false. 6. One is inundated with all kinds of troubles. These, young householder, are the 6 dangers that result from habitually loitering in the streets at unfitting hours. Further, young householder, there are these 6 dangers that result from habitually indulging in attending shows and entertaining events that one becomes obsessed with. What 6? 1. Where is there dancing going on? 2. Where is there singing taking place? 3. Where is there music playing? 4. Where is there a talking event taking place? 5. Where is there hand clapping taking place? 6. Where is there drum beating taking place? These, young householder, are the 6 dangers that result from habitually indulging in attending shows and entertaining events. Further, young householder, there are these 6 dangers from indulging in gambling, which is a doorway for heedlessness. What 6? 1. Through winning, one also wins enemies. 2. Through losing, one regrets one's loss. 3. There is loss of material possession and wealth. 4. One's word loses its value, no longer accounting for much. 5. One loses favor and is despised among friends. 6. One is no longer considered worthy of marriage, for how could such a person support a partner and a family? These, young householder, are the 6 dangers from indulging in gambling, which is a doorway for heedlessness. Further, young householder, there are these 6 dangers in habitually associating with bad friends. That results in having such companions as 1. The gambler. 2. The lustful. 3. The drunk. 4. The cheat. 5. The swindler. And 6. The violent. These, young householder, are the 6 dangers in habitually associating with bad friends. Further, young householder, there are these 6 dangers in habitually being idle with one's time and resources. What 6? 1. One avoids work by stating that it's too cold. 2. One avoids work by stating that it's too hot. 3. One avoids work by stating that it's too late. 4. One avoids work by stating that it's too early. 5. One avoids work by stating, I'm too hungry. 6. One avoids work by stating, I'm too full. These, young householder, are the 6 dangers in habitually being idle with one's time and resources. Thus the Blessed One explained. Having stated thus, the welfarer, the Sugata, the teacher, continued by saying, while some are merely drinking buddies, whereas others assert to be your friends, calling you, my friend, you're my friend, but, in reality, those who are there when you find yourself in true need are the ones to be called friend indeed. Sleeping in late and being lazy, having sexual contact with someone else's mate, uncontrolled in anger and doing harm, being stingy, while lacking a true purpose in life and associating with bad friends, these 6 bring one ruin indeed. The one who hangs out with a bad friend, a bad companion, who is bad in conduct and disposition, meets with ruin in this world and the next. Playing dice, looking for opportunities for sex, sleeping by day and spending time with bad friends, drinking, dancing, frolicking at unfitting hours, along with being stingy, these 6 ruin one's life. Enjoying the excitement of gambling, intoxicating the mind, seducing another's mate, associating with those empty of virtue while avoiding the wise, one ends up wasting away, much like the waning moon. The drunkard, having lost one's honor, money, prestige, and standing, craving after the next intoxicating high, sinks like a stone into a sea of debt, being left without a family or home. Sleeping by day, refusing to get up before the sun, drunk and lost in the use of mind-altering drugs, is unfit to lead a decent life. Crying out, it's too hot, it's too cold, it's too late, procrastinating and leaving important tasks undone, They find life and opportunities slip by in no time. But whoever looks at cold and heat equal to a blade of grass, while taking charge, completes his work at hand, finds his happiness growing evermore. Young householder, there are these four who should be known clearly by you as enemies, working in the guise of friends. What for? 1. The freeloader, young householder, you should recognize as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend. 2. The one who is nothing but talk and does not act, young householder, you should recognize as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend. 3. The flatterer, young householder, you should recognize as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend. 4. The careless fellow spender, young householder, you should recognize as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend. Young householder, these are the four who should be known clearly by you as enemies, working in the guise of friends. Further, young householder, the freeloader should be recognized as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend, because of these four reasons. What for? 1. He only takes without giving anything himself. 2. Without offering much, he wants and expects much. 3. Whatever he does so out of fear and compulsion. 4. Serving with an ulterior motive, he is only after his own ends. Thus, young householder, the freeloader should be recognized as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend, because of these four reasons. Further, young householder, the one who is nothing but talk should be recognized as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend, because of these four reasons. What for? 1. He talks about his generous acts done in the past. 2. He tells you of his generous acts to be done in the future. 3. He slithers into your life through empty phrases of goodwill. 4. When needed to show his worth, he feigns inability due to some unforeseen misfortune. Thus, young householder, the one who is nothing but talk should be recognized as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend, because of these four reasons. Further, young householder, the flatterer should be recognized as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend, because of these four reasons. What for? 1. He approves of your bad actions and misbehavior. 2. His approval is dependent on how it would benefit him ultimately, whether what you do is wholesome or unwholesome. 3. He is full of praise to your face. 4. He disparages and talks behind your back. Thus, young householder, the flatterer should be recognized as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend, because of these four reasons. Further, young householder, the careless fellow spender should be recognized as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend, because of these four reasons. What for? 1. He is a companion to you when indulging in intoxicating substances, whether they are natural, distilled, or fermented, all causing heedlessness. 2. He is a companion while loitering in the streets at unfitting hours. 3. He is a constant companion while attending shows and entertaining events. 4. He is a companion while indulging in gambling. That is a cause for heedlessness. Thus, young householder, the careless fellow spender should be recognized as an enemy, only pretending to be a friend, because of these four reasons. Thus the Blessed One explained. Having stated thus, the wayfarer, the Sugata, the teacher, continued by saying, "The friend who is only after getting whatever he can from you, and the one who is full of empty words, the one who works his way through flattery, and the one who brings about loss of wealth, these four are no friends at all. So should the wise recognize and know, for they are to be avoided, much like a dangerously treacherous path." Further, young householder, there are these four who should be known clearly by you as true and loyal friends. What for? 1. The one who is helpful should be recognized as a true and loyal friend. 2. The one who is dependable in his friendship to you in both hard times and good should be recognized as a true and loyal friend. 3. The one who genuinely points what is good for you, whether it pleases you or not, should be recognized as a true and loyal friend. 4. The caring friend should be recognized as a true and loyal friend. The friend who is helpful, young householder, should be recognized as a true and loyal friend because of these four reasons. What for? 1. He looks after you when you are heedless and inattentive. 2. He protects and watches over your property when you are heedless. 3. He serves as a refuge when you are at a loss and in fear. 4. When facing financial difficulties, he helps you out by giving you twice of what you asked for originally. Thus, young householder, the helpful friend should be recognized as a true and loyal friend because of these four reasons. The dependable friend, young householder, should be recognized as a true and loyal friend because of these four reasons. What for? 1. He tells you his secrets. 2. He keeps your secrets safe. 3. He does not abandon you in difficult times of need. 4. He would even give up his own life for you. Thus, young householder, the dependable friend should be recognized as a true and loyal friend because of these four reasons. The friend who always points out what is good for you, whether it pleases you or not, young householder, should be recognized as a true and loyal friend because of these four reasons. What for? 1. He warns you from engaging in bad actions. 2. He encourages you to do what is good. 3. He instructs you by having you hear what you did not know. 4. He points you in the direction of heaven. Thus, young householder, the friend who points out what is good for you should be recognized as a true and loyal friend because of these four reasons. The caring friend, young householder, should be recognized as a true and loyal friend because of these four reasons. What for? 1. He does not delight in your misfortune. 2. He becomes genuinely delighted in your good fortune. 3. He stops others from speaking ill of you. 4. He commends others who speak highly of you. Thus, young householder, the caring friend should be recognized as a true and loyal friend because of these four reasons. Thus, the Blessed One explained. Having stated thus, the wayfarer, the Sugata, the teacher, continued by saying, the friend who is a helper, and the one who is there whether times are good or bad, and the friend who shows us the true way, and the caring friend, these are the four. So should the wise recognize and know and cherish them with care, like a loving child to his parents. The wise one, thus trained and disciplined, shines forth like a beacon on top of a hill, gathering his wealth with consistency like a bee does with honey, with wealth piling up like an ant hill, and having accrued his wealth thus, the householder becomes ready for a family and a home. Dividing his wealth into 4, with 1 part enjoyed, 2 parts he reinvests into his work, while the 4th he places aside as a reserve for times of need. And how, young householder, would the noble disciple encompass the 6 directions? Here, young householder, the following should be regarded as the 6 directions. Thus, one's own parents should be regarded as the east. 2. One's teachers should be regarded as the south. 3. One's spouse and children are to be regarded as the west. 4. One's friends and close companions should be regarded as the north. 5. One's employees and workers should be regarded as the nadir. 6. Recluses and Brahmins should be regarded as the zenith. There are 5 ways, young householder, with which a son or daughter should honor one's parents as the east. What 5? 1. Having been supported by them, I will now support them. 2. I will now perform their duties for them. 3. I will keep up the family tradition. 4. I will be worthy of my heritage. 5. I will make offerings in their honor after their death. In addition, young householder, there are 5 ways with which parents, having been respected as the East, show their love and compassion towards their children. What 5? 1. They will restrain him from bad actions. 2. They will support him in doing good. 3. They will teach and guide him in learning a trade or craft. 4. They will arrange for his marriage to a suitable partner. 5. They will provide him with his share of the inheritance in due time. It is in these 5 ways, young householder, that one's parents, respected and honored as the East by their children, show their compassion to their son or daughter. Thus, the East is encompassed by him as protected and safe. There are 5 ways, young householder, with which one's teachers are honored as the South by the student. What 5? 1. By rising to greet them. 2. By waiting on them. 3. By being eager to learn from them. 4. By serving them. 5. By learning from them the arts, crafts, and knowledge they share. In addition, young householder, there are 5 ways with which teachers, having been respected as the South, show their compassion towards their students. What 5? 1. They discipline the pupil so that he is well disciplined. 2. They teach him so that he is well taught in the teaching of what he should have grasped. 3. They ensure that he has been tested in his learning. 4. They recommend and connect him to friends and colleagues. 5. They provide him with security and protection in every quarter. It is in these 5 ways, young householder, that one's teachers, respected and honored as the South by the student, show their compassion to their pupil. Thus, the South is encompassed by him as protected and safe. There are 5 ways, young householder, with which one's spouse is honored as the West by one's spouse. What 5? 1. By treating them with respect. 2. by not being discourteous towards them. 3. By being always faithful to them. 4. By giving authority to them over various matters. 5. By providing for them with various adornments. In addition, young householder, there are 5 ways with which one's spouse, having been respected as the West, shows their love and compassion towards their spouse. What 5? 1. They manage and properly organize their work. 2. They are hospitable to those around them, such as servants, helpers, and relatives of their spouse. 3. They are always faithful towards their spouse. 4. They look after their spouse's property and wealth. 5. They are skillful and diligent in their duties. It is in these 5 ways, young householder, that one's spouse, respected and honored as the West by their spouse, shows their compassion to their marital partner. Thus, the West is encompassed by him as protected and safe. There are 5 ways, young householder, with which one's friends and close companions are honored as the North by their friend and close companions. What 5? 1. Through generous acts. 2. Through the use of pleasant and courteous speech. 3. Through consideration and looking after their well-being. 4. Through fairness and impartial treatment. 5. Through respecting one's word to them and others. In addition, young householder, there are 5 ways with which one's friends and close companions, having been respected as the North, show their love and compassion towards their friend and companion. What 5? 1. They protect and look after him when he is heedless. 2. They look after and guard his property when he is heedless. 3. They become a refuge for him in difficult times. 4. They do not abandon him in challenging times. 5. They respect and honor his family members, treating them like their own. It is in these 5 ways, young householder, that one's friends and close companions, respected and honored as the North by their friend, show their compassion to their friend and close companion. Thus, the North is encompassed by him as protected and safe. There are 5 ways, young householder, with which one's employees and workers should be regarded as the nader by their employer and master. What 5? 1. By delegating to them appropriate tasks according to their skill sets and abilities. 2. By providing them with sufficient food and wages. 3. By taking care of their health and medical necessities. 4. By sharing with them exquisite flavors from his own table. 5. By giving them breaks and time-offs from work. In addition, young householder, there are 5 ways with which one's employees and workers, having been respected as the nader, show their love and compassion towards their employer and master. What 5? 1. They rise before him. 2. They retire from work after him. 3. They only take what is given to them by their employer. 4. They do their work dedicatedly. 5. They speak praise about his good name and character. It is in these 5 ways, young householder, that one's employees and workers, respected and honored as the nader by their employer, show their compassion to their employer and master. Thus, the nader is encompassed by him as protected and safe. There are 5 ways, young householder, with which recluses and Brahmins should be regarded as the zenith by householders. What 5? 1. By acts of loving kindness expressed through the body. 2. By acts of loving kindness expressed through speech. 3. By acts of loving kindness expressed through the thoughts. 4. By keeping one's home open to them. 5. By providing them with their material needs. In addition, young householder, there are 6 ways with which recluses and Brahmins, having been respected as the zenith, show their love and compassion towards householders. What 6? 1. They help restrain him from engaging in bad conduct. 2. They inspire and instruct him to engage in good conduct. 3. They benevolently show compassion and kindness towards him. 4. They familiarize him with teachings unheard of before. 5. They elucidate and clarify for him what he has already heard. 6. They show him the way to be reborn in heaven. It is in these 6 ways, young householder, that recluses and Brahmins, respected and honored as the zenith by householders, show their compassion to householders. Thus, the zenith is encompassed by him as protected and safe. Thus, the Blessed One explained. Having stated thus, the well-farer, the Sugata, the teacher, continued by saying, having mother and father as the front direction, teachers as the southern, while spouse and children as one's direction from the back, friends and close companions as the north, employees and workers as the nadir, while recluses and Brahmins the zenith, these become the cardinal directions to be honored by one who is a householder amongst his clan. The wise, developed through discipline and virtue, eloquent and humble, free from pride, such a person will come to fame. The one who rises early, diligent and heedful, untroubled by challenges, having a faultless behavior throughout, this wise one will come to fame. With his door open, generous and clearly discerning, while benevolent in living one's life, such a guide will come to fame. Open-handed in his giving, with kindly speech, remaining impartial towards all, with conduct that is beneficial everywhere. These are the qualities that keep the world together, like the linchpin holding the chariot wheel, without which neither mother nor father receive from their son or daughter any honor or respect. But since these qualities are regarded so highly by the wise, they do bring greatness to one, and thus are causes for much praise and fame. In hearing these words, Sigāla responded to the Blessed One, "Excellent Venerable Sir, magnificent Venerable Sir! It is as if someone were to set upright what has been overturned, or were to reveal what was hidden, or to show the right way for one who was lost, or bring in a lit-up lamp into a dark room so that those with eyesight could see. Similarly, the Blessed One has made the Dhamma clear in many ways. I go for refuge to the Blessed One. I go for refuge to the Dhamma. And I go for refuge to the Sangha. From this day forth, may the Blessed Lord accept and remember me as a lay disciple who has gone for refuge to him for life." Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.